Hey, it's me, Wanda. IntellectualRadio.com. Hey, you guys, it's Sunday, fun day, 2 p.m. It's time for He Said, She Said with me. Okay, you guys, got something new for you. I know a lot of you watch on Facebook Live, and I so appreciate the ones who do. And then the ones who watch on Intellectual Radio, I really want you to go check out the website. Even my Facebook people, I really want you to see our updated intellectualradio.com website for me. Go check it out. And then if you're on YouTube, subscribe. Please subscribe to intellectualradio.com because not only do you have my fabulous show Sundays at 2 p.m., there are so many more fabulous shows that I would love for you to check out. And on our website is a good way. So check out intellectualradio.com. And this episode of He Said, She Said is brought to you by Allstate. So whether you need auto, home, or life insurance, Sal is going to be there to help you. Don't let a GoFundMe be your life insurance plan. Call Slate 599-5100 and you are going to be in good hands with Allstate. So it is election season. And going out there to vote is also another very important thing to do. And there are very important races going on. John Vanderbilt is a fourth generation park forester and current Park Forest Village trustee, and he is running for mayor of Park Forest. As mayor of Park Forest, John's priorities will be to ease high property taxes, lower water bills, replace old infrastructure, and support our schools. John Vanderbilt will be bold, fiscally responsible, and prepare for the next generation. Cast your vote to elect John Vanderbilt as the next mayor of Park Forest. And this was endorsed by the Chicago Federation of Labor and paid for by the citizens to elect Jonathan Vanderbilt for mayor of Park Forest. So today, I have with me, hey. Like I said, we have a lot of fabulous shows here at Intellectual Radio. I have with me Dr. Anthony Gann. He is host of, now wait for it because this is a list here, The Great Entrepreneurs, the great authors. And starting today at 1 p.m., he's leading way into He Said, She Said with me, Wanda B, A Greater You. He's also, like I said, an Intellectual Radio host, author of over 30 books. 30, yes, I said 30, not 30 books. And today he is here representing the he's on He Said, She Said. Hey, Dr. Gann.
Hey, Wanda B, how you doing?
I am well. I'm so excited. 30 books, guys. I know. It's like mind boggling. This man can help you. Okay, I should give you the times and shows because you really do need to check them out. Mondays at The Great Entrepreneurs. He's at 6 p.m. on intellectualradio.com. He has The Great Authors at 8 p.m. on Thursdays. And then starting today, the premiere of A Greater You. So how are you?
I'm good.
How did The Greater You go today?
It went well. It went well. Thank you.
Okay, so he's representing the he's, and our topic today is, yes, a pregnant pause. What do they call it? That wasn't on purpose. I'm like, what is the topic? The show topic is it hard dating after breakups and divorce? Does it seem harder when after a breakup? If someone said to me, don't you usually break up after you? Our super producer who questions these topics as we give them to him said, shouldn't you be broken up if you're going to start dating? I was like, wait a minute. What? I know what I'm talking about. Just leave me alone. That's our topic for today. You guys, I have a group, He Said, She Said, on Facebook. It's a Facebook group where we kind of talk about all these same topics all week long. So I would love for you to join our group on Facebook. Be a part of the He Said, She Said community because we kind of do these same things we do here. So divorce after breaking up. And it did lead to the question of what's the difference of a breakup dating versus, and I do think there is a distinct difference. What do you think,
Yeah,
Dr.
I think
Gann?
it is. I think it's the same, but I do think it's distinct because a divorce, you never plan on doing that in most cases.
You think you're done with the dating scene. I think even some people who are in committed relationships do feel like this relationship is it.
Right.
And I shouldn't have to be back there on the scene, or many years have passed since you dated.
Right.
Me, I had been married 20 years before I was back on the dating scene. So things change.
Yeah, in 20 years.
So it's not necessarily why dating after a divorce or a breakup is usually because you've been off of the dating scene for considerable, maybe, and maybe not considerable, but sometimes it could be 6 years,
Yeah,
7 years, 10
that's a long
years.
time. Yeah.
That's a long time.
Right.
And the way you may have handled dating 10 years, 20 years ago
Right.
is so vastly different 20, 13, 10,
Yes, sir.
even 2 years later.
Right.
And so I think that's why it becomes somewhat of a topic because dating for me prior to divorce, there was no internet. I mean, there was
Right.
internet, but it wasn't social media.
Right. Right.
Social media was nowhere near part of your dating scene and part of how you chose someone. You'd have to just find them on the streets.
Right.
It wasn't
Be at the grocery store for hours.
be at the grocery store, be at the fish market. I mean, that's where I met my ex-husband. Be at the, I mean, you just really could be anywhere, which you still can be. But I do think the parameters of even how to date has changed. But then baggage. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
times now you do find that dating after a breakup can be harder because of the baggage that's left over from people
From the
or
relationship. Yeah.
what they bring from relationships. So do you guys on Facebook, and please chime in if you're on Facebook, please. You can give us a call, 708-223-8953 if you'd like to be a part of the discussion, or here on Facebook for the people who chime in on Facebook. Please share the broadcast for me as well as join in the conversation. So, hi, Stephanie. Stephanie my makeup artist. She is the best. If you need a makeup artist, please reach out to Stephanie Evans. So, I think I felt what made it a lot harder was things had really changed. I really feel things had changed a lot. How people communicated changed. It was tougher. Now, how do I explain what made it harder is what I'm about to try to get through. And guys, I'd love to hear from you if you feel that it's harder. I'd like to hear why and how. So, what do you think on that? What do you think?
Okay. Well, I think it was for me. It was harder because for one, you got the baggage, you got the hurt from the relationship. Secondly, because you, like I said, with no internet, so now you're bringing the hurt because see, you didn't have this hurt before you met the last person, right? So now you have this hurt.
It's a whole new hurt.
It's a whole new hurt.
That's a whole nother thing that this person has made you have experiences that you hadn't had prior to
Right.
that.
That's right.
So your first experience with dating didn't have this new hurt.
Right.
And now that you sometimes are afraid of finding a new people,
Right.
you're like on this guarded thing of not finding someone who's like the last one.
Right. And then so you were vulnerable in the last relationship, 5, 10, 15 years. You're what I call emotionally naked because you've been with them 5, 10, 20 years.
Emotionally naked.
Right.
What's that?
Right.
Explain being emotionally
Well,
naked.
you're free to be yourself. They know you. They know your quirks. They know everything about you. You know theirs because you've been in a relationship for 5, 10, 15 years. Now you have to kind of like put clothes on because I don't know you now when I come meet these new people. And I have lived 5, 10 years kind of being this way. And it was okay in my household, so to speak, because they knew who I was and I knew who they were.
In fact, that makes sense. I mean, it makes sense when people. It's almost how people, what we say, are guarded.
Right.
That you have let that guard
let the guard
down.
down.
You now are emotionally naked in a relationship because you feel like you can be, and then it's coming out into this new scene that you need to maybe start
Getting dressed.
getting dressed and being a little bit more guarded.
Right.
And I think that's what I definitely found because I would say to someone, "Oh, this person said," and they go, "Oh, you know what that means?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "No, that's code for they want." I was like, "Really?
See,
When did that happen?"
Because they never had the codes. I've been married 20 years, right?
Right. So I'm like, what did that mean? That didn't make no one did it this way.
Right.
And I can only imagine. Now, I think what I noticed too a lot with breakups is really I think you explained it wonderfully with the emotionally naked of putting up a whole lot of guard because you've been so emotionally naked, you put up armor.
Yeah. Because I don't
Not
know.
just put on some clothes. They put on. They come like the Tin Man.
You're not getting near me, right? Yeah, that's true.
And so that can be. And then I've also noticed people who then are still talking about the breakup.
Right.
They're dating, and it's obvious they're not over it because every conversation is she did this, and then when she did this, and then she did this, and you
Right.
go, "Whoa, are
Right.
you over this?"
Well, I think that happened. I think men do that probably more than women.
You think so?
Well, see, when a woman is going through her transition of breaking up and all that, she has her girlfriends, and she's talked about it a lot. He did this, he did that. So now she meets this guy that probably haven't talked about it at all. Because you can't talk to your friends, man. She did this, man.
Man, why she do this to me? That
Right.
man up. What you
That's
talking
right.
about?
Man, there's other fish in the sea, right? So he hasn't had a chance to talk about it. So now he gets with you, and he's saying what she did because he hasn't had the conversation yet with anybody, or maybe one person, or just with himself. So I think he does that a lot because men usually don't get together and try to help men get past traumatic, endings or breakups and things like that. But women, they learn early to converse with each other. They got their girlfriend that I can't believe he looked out the window and didn't tell me. But the man, he never says that. He just like, well, she looked out the window and tell me, forget her, right? And keep it moving.
Oh wait, you trying to say men are easier to get over? Do you feel men are easier to get over?
No, because I think everybody need to talk it out. And
Even men need to
oh
talk it
yeah,
out.
yeah. As a man, I knew I needed to talk it out because what happens is when you don't talk it out, then when you do talk to someone, when you let the guard down, you start taking off this Tin Man suit, you're gonna talk about what happened last.
That's part of taking off the Tin Man
That's right.
suit is talking about what happened
And
last.
so now you got this new person thinking like, okay, this is the third time you said something about her, but you've been gone for how long? 10 years from her, and you still talk. But I never talked about it.
No, and that's true. Stephanie says, plus things change, rules dating change. What rules have changed? That's a good point, Stephanie. What rules change from when you're dating from what are the rules? That's a good thing too. Like,
Yeah.
what are the rules of dating? Joe said it's part of the next relationship to speak of the past ones. Is it? Is it part of it? If
I think so to a certain degree, because the person I think when you get into the next relationship should be able to heal you from some hurts that happen.
people should be able to heal you.
They should have something in them to heal you. I think so. I think everybody.
Let me think about that.
I
What
think.
do you guys think about that? Should they heal you or you have to heal?
Well, you have to heal yourself, but I look at it as every person is like their own doctor, nurse, but they also a patient. So you can't create some operations you can't do on yourself. You need somebody to help you with those.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
that's a good point.
Mhm.
Hey, Mark Quinn, how are you? Thank you for everybody who chimes in on Facebook. I appreciate you. Please join the conversation. Love your input. Thank you, Mark Quinn, Joe Evans, my dear childhood friend, and Stephanie. Thank you for you guys' input. Uh, so I never thought of you can't totally heal by yourself because a lot of times I know I feel or always tell people that the healing comes from within, but then there probably has to be at some point someone. So what? How would someone choose someone who's best for their healing,
okay.
though?
Well, they got to admit that they're hurt, and a lot of us don't want to admit that we hurt or where we're hurt. So I like to use it as an example. If you knew you had a stomach ache and you went into Walgreens and you over in the sinus medicine aisle, something wrong with that, right? But it's medicine. You say, well, I'll take this. And I think that's how we pick people. It's a pretty box, even though I don't have a sinus problem.
But I have a problem, and maybe even almost like misdiagnosing.
Yeah.
They feel their problem is this, so they're in the sinus aisle
Right.
when they really need into the cancer because
Right.
you got something much bigger
right.
than the sinus aisle.
Right. You need to be at a hospital. Right.
You need to be seeing an oncologist,
Right.
not in the not in the sinus.
And I think that's what people do. So then they end up picking people with the pretty box, and now they're talking about this pain. And the person that's that pretty box to sign it, they like I'm sinus medicine. But you keep talking about something else. I can't do anything for you.
Or thinking it was the other person's fault.
Yeah.
I don't have anything wrong with me.
Yeah.
So after the breakup, they did this, they did this. They have a very long list of what the other person did and don't feel they did anything wrong, really, but try to love you and try to do this for you.
Right.
And I do everything for you. And I did all of these things and you did this and never feel like they had any part to play in the breakup.
I think those are the worst people to deal with. Because if they don't think they did anything wrong in the last relationship, they really gonna think they do everything right in this one. And I don't want to be with that one because I think that'd be more of a problem. Personally.
And they're also looking to make sure you don't do any of the things the last one did.
Right.
The last guy did this. The last woman did this. I'm not going to tolerate that this
Right.
time.
Right.
And so they're on high alert for all these things when they're dating again that they don't want to see happen to them. And you never even, the new person has never even attempted any of the stuff
Right.
they're even.
And they're scared now. Like, oh, I don't even want to look that way. Right. Yeah.
So that's true. 70 said, I got married early, 19. That is early. So there are things I could now that I couldn't do then. Things I could do now that I couldn't do then. So it's really hard for me. Like the rules when someone buys a drink and what do you do after that? Oh, that rule is really. Yeah, I think now that rule definitely is a very guys are different. Or I won't just say guys.
But
I don't know, only if dated guys. So
Yeah,
I guess
yeah,
that's the only
right,
reason
yeah.
why I can't
Right.
say to the other part. But I do think that was a big difference, that it was kind of, and even I see this on social media a lot. And like I said, we have that group, he said, she said, join it on Facebook. Because this topic has come up. I will say this, with dating, with buying the drinks, it would be back in my day when I was walking in the dirt roads. That sound old.
No, you didn't sound old.
It was coming. It was in my head. I didn't even let it out before I realized I'm going to sound like somebody's great great grandmother with what I was about to say. But that men bought drinks and it was nothing for it. Now men really kind of are expecting drinks to be bought for them. Like this now, things should be very equivalent to how men are treated to how women. Things do seem kind of different if you're not used to. That's how it was when you were dating. It is a new world. Joe said relationships are for healing, constantly repairing faith in people. Joe says, look at the studies that have been done with infants being left without any nurturing, how they develop slower and with fears that others who have been nurtured don't exhibit. That's a great point, that if you even had a whole relationship of not being nurtured, how do you bring that into a new relationship?
Well, you're gonna bring that into a new relationship. Like not being nurtured, you bringing that with you. So if the next person you were just with left you, or the breakup, now you compounding an earlier issue. You put net on top of something, and then the next person has to pay, right? So now, like you said, that I'm dating someone, and these are things I'm not gonna stand for. Nobody's coming to my house after 8 o'clock. All this, right? All these different things, right? So I got this list because the last person came in late. So,
right. The last person, he kept calling me late at night. No more texting.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let nobody just text me. The whole list of rules that are totally based on your past relationship.
So you're making a new person pay for the last person.
That is a point, and I do believe that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's funny. The not not coming over after 8. It's funny though that people don't. That it would be that they're looking at everything the other person did and looking for the new person and consider that actually healing. Yeah. I do believe that is part of what people consider actually doing better.
Right. They consider doing better, but they putting another person in somebody else's shoes.
Another person.
Right. Because see, the last person came in after 8 or just text at midnight or whatever. Now, this person, you haven't even let them do their thing yet, because they may not ever like texting after 8. But you putting them on notice that you better not do it, because that's what Joe did to me or Jane did to me. And I think sometimes we don't. That's why I think healing is so important to people. That's what helped me in my relationships, because once you break up with people, we're so used to, like, I broke up with this person, because we know a lot of us start maybe relationships early. It might be 16, 17, whatever. And as you get older, you think that the next person you meet, you're supposed to be in a relationship with. Right? Because it's always a next. I broke up with her. Who's next? Broke up with him. Who's next? Right? So I think when people just go and just try to find the next one, I realized after was going through a separation divorce, I realized how hurt I was. Right? And I made a decision then that I would love the next person more than I love the last person.
You made a decision you would love the next person
more than I love the last person. So I wasn't going to hold back because of what happened last.
Love them. I see what you mean.
I was going to be less afraid with the next one than I was with the last one.
You're going to be more naked than you were naked with the last.
Right. Be more naked. Like, can you get any naked, right? Naked earth. That's what the
Naked
word.
earth.
Right.
That's a good point because not going guarded, we sometimes are so protected that we don't allow us just to enjoy the new
Yeah.
relationship. We don't come in with happiness, joy. We come in for the other shoe to drop
Right.
versus just being free to enjoy
The-
what we have.
Mhm.
What I noticed too after my divorce was a tendency to handle situations based on how the other person will respond.
Right.
So I'm expecting men to respond the way he
Responded.
responded. And so it was almost like, huh, when someone responded differently.
What are you doing?
Or if I thought it was halfway going to be similar, I would go into probably how I would normally respond to other people
Right.
instead of how this person deserves to
Right.
be responded to. You're going to get the full go off.
Right. Because that's what normally happens. Right.
Because that's what I'd almost trained myself to do after so many.
Yeah.
And so it is so much healing, I think, that you don't even really realize sometimes. But I think the first step to dating again after is to start fresh, is
Yeah.
mentally
Yeah.
even.
And look at people because I know I share with people sometimes, Wanda, that I don't like paying for somebody else's stuff. Right? I don't want to pay.
Nobody is. You don't walk up in the grocery store and say, and they put out rank up all the person behind you
You
groceries.
say, okay, put that in my card. I don't like doing that, right? But so since I don't like doing it, then I don't want to put people in that situation that they have to do it with me, like have to pay for what somebody else did for me. So I think that sometimes people, because I obviously, when you start dating people, um, I think some people they become investigators because of what happened to them in there yesterday. So they checking you out if even a facial expression means something now. What you trying to say? You don't like what I have on? And you're like, no, that's just like your expression. Right? I mean, it's not that I don't like what you have on expression, but I'm checking you out on everything you do. And they're not enjoying the relationship because they're too busy investigating the person based on what happened to them in the past.
This article says that uh, as you get back into the dating process, try to stay positive. And that's one of the things we've been saying.
Mhm.
It's important to adopt a positive mindset when getting back into dating. And I think that's it's number one. And I think that's number one with that person deserves, like you say, not to pay for somebody else's baggage.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't want to pay the extra what is that airline that make you pay for every bag?
Everything you
Spirit.
do, Spirit, yeah.
They don't want you to go
out the
Spirit
window,
on them.
we're gonna charge you.
Just is for that bag. Oh, I got it even. My clothes are in the bag. They don't want to pay for any extra baggage, and I think you owe it to them till they show you the behaviors
Right.
that they are, but then you owe it to them to come kind of with a clean slate.
Yeah.
And then number two in this 9 tips of dating again after divorce is reflect on what you do and don't want in a partner.
Mhm.
And so has everybody do people make those lists of what they do want? Or I think everybody knows what they don't want.
Yeah,
Does everyone know what they do want?
I think very few people know what they do want. I think, Wanda, when people don't know themselves, how are they gonna know what they want? They don't even know themselves, right? So they may know what they think, what, like say they know what they don't want. I remember when I went to the military, I didn't know what I wanted in life, right? I'm just going because I don't know what I want. Well, after being there about a year or so, I knew what I
was
did
very
want.
clear.
Right? Like I don't want this, but I got to pick something opposite than this. And I think a lot of times people do that with relationships. People just want to be, not everybody, but a lot of people want to just be with somebody. And so then when they get with somebody, it's not even somebody they really like. It's just I'm not by myself.
And maybe some people aren't even used to being by themselves, especially after long-term relationships. That feeling of not knowing how to be alone
Yeah.
and enjoy your own company.
Especially if you get just like you said, the lady said she got married at 19. This hypothetically, she's been with her family, right, all her life. 19, she's married. Let's say for she stays married for 20 years. She's 39. She's never been by herself.
I know I definitely felt that way because I went from my parents' house to in a committed relation and to being a mother. And
Right.
then after you're a mother, you're really just never alone.
Never alone. Right.
And so I didn't even know at any way how to be how to make what it even meant to make myself happy.
Right.
And so I do think that's an exercise a lot of people would benefit from doing. You can't go wrong with it. If making yourself happy is that doesn't involve someone else.
Right. And that's hard for a lot of people to do. It's hard for them, like I said, be alone. It's hard for them. Hey, stay in the house all day by yourself. Oh, I can't do it. I gotta
I
be
get
out.
bored with
Right.
TV.
Right. Something has to happen because I don't want to be by myself. Because in most cases I haven't. So that's what
For
happened.
me too, after the breakup, it was sometimes not wanting to even be alone with my own thoughts.
Right.
So not being alone then became that I would think too much, and then so I just didn't want to think. So
Right.
I'd rather not be alone. So it really trying to be comfortable and heal the different things so you can enjoy yourself
Right.
in your own company. Darius says, nope, not for me. As long as you don't let what happened in your last relationship get in the way of the new one. Joe said, if the loving is good and real, you discount a lot of the other ish. And I don't discount things in relationships. I don't know if I would want to discount someone's issues. Hopefully we can work them out
Yeah.
and kind of
I
deal with them.
I think people. I think everybody come with baggage. Everybody does. And I think the ultimate is to unpack them together. You know what I mean? Like, let's unpack your baggage. I unpack my baggage. Ooh, that's nasty over there, but we got to unpack it because we together, right? And I think that's the part that people, when it comes to this emotional healing, they never like get into themselves and go look at their baggage. They never go and look at the attic of their own lives, right? So if they figured out, I didn't look in the attic of my own life, I don't want to look at your attic of your life either, because I know my attic is messed up.
Or they only see or they only see what's in your attic and they never look in
They
their own.
never look in their own, right? You know,
They see yours clearly.
right?
Your attic got all these
But
boxes and
right,
it's you a hoarder. And it's
right.
like,
But then it says, let's go look at your attic. No, no, I gotta go over
no,
there.
mind your business.
Right, right,
That don't have nothing to do with
right.
this.
I call that a security guard. They're guarding their insecurities. And don't come up in this attic because then you're gonna see all my insecurities, and we're gonna have a fight.
And guarding your insecurities is huge because that is a very vulnerable state. And sometimes I do think people really do, including myself on all my insecurities, have a problem with that kind of naked. Because
Right.
then when you're not comfortable in that situation or that part isn't healed, you don't even want to see it or
You
deal with
right.
it.
But somebody got to help you with it though. See, that's the beauty of a relationship if it's healthy, right? That I don't want to deal with this part in my life, right? So since I don't want to deal with this part of my life, somebody got to help me deal with it because I may not ever face it, but if I don't deal with it, it is gonna stream into this relationship because it's gonna get bigger and bigger. Eventually, I won't be able to control it anyhow. So now I'm gonna drive you away because I was afraid to let you help me deal with this stuff. And a lot of us aren't equipped to that because we don't deal with ourselves. So how am I gonna deal with somebody else? I don't deal with
And
me.
we're not equipped is a very good way of saying that because I remember once telling my child who one of her friends was discussing things with her and wanting her input, and I said that's above your pay grade. I mean, you don't really. She needs to talk to
Somebody
somebody.
else.
You're not equipped with how to help her with this
Right,
problem. I
right,
mean, that's kind of deep.
right.
That you don't have the answers for her. So
So why you get? But see, that's how we do in life, though, right? So 10 years later, I'm still giving advice, and I'm not, my pay grade.
you above what you
Yeah.
actually. I said you need to advise her to talk to someone else
Right.
because you're not going to be able to give her the kind of advice she needs
Right.
because not even not I don't think you have to always experience something to be able to give advice, but it really was that deep of an issue
Right.
that she wouldn't begin. I think, well, the little girl was a cutter
Right.
and she was cutting herself. You can't help this little girl. You
Right.
can't help your friend
Yeah.
on
Right.
this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
need
what are you going to? You
tell her
can't
to stop
unpack.
taking out. Right. You can't unpack that because you don't know where that started.
You don't know where that started. What emotional as a child. I
Right.
mean, this is deep rooted because we're talking about this was a young child.
Right.
So I knew this had to do with something that
Yes.
my daughter wouldn't know how to.
Handle
She
that.
needs
Right.
professional
Right.
help. So I think we also too, if we do have friends that come with us, maybe we shouldn't always be giving our advice. I
Yeah.
mean, we really don't always have. I notice a lot of people sometimes. I've noticed some people. give advice based on their own
Right.
experiences. And we if you haven't experienced it, it may be something that you really are not knowledgeable in giving help for, and they need to reach out. And I think it's okay if they come to you to try to find them someone who can help them better too.
Right.
And that may be all part of helping people heal after divorces and after breakup. Because I really felt I had experienced my mother getting a divorce and felt like my mother at the time handled it very like, oh, it had never been divorced, so it
Right.
seems like any other breakup. Let it
Right.
go.
Right.
I'm like,
What's the
oh,
problem?
what's the problem? There's more fish in the sea. But just keep moving on.
Right.
And then I'm going to realize after I got divorced, oh, this is no joke. I
Right.
mean, it just really is a change of your life
Mhm.
that it made more sense. And I realized another time when I probably wasn't equipped to give
Right.
advice, and she needed someone who had experienced what she was going through and knew how to or professionally help someone.
Right.
So I think we all can reach out to. One way of helping people is by finding them the proper help.
Proper. Just point them. Say, hey, find you a therapist or a counselor or maybe a good book on it. Uh, watch a show or something that can help.
That can help
Yeah,
you.
because we don't do that well sometimes. Because we want. I remember when I was going through my divorce period, and I had a good friend. He was telling me about his situation. And I said, "Listen, man, you don't want to listen to me on this time because I'm kind of mad. You know, I may sound good, but I'm telling you, they coming from the right place, right? So you might not want to hear my opinion because I might just because I'm mad right now. I'm mad that my picture has been shattered. What I thought my life was gonna be with this person is not gonna be that way. So I'm still trying to figure out should I try to glue it back together? Do I have to go find me another mirror, a picture? And I said, so if you ask me a question, man, I'm telling you, I may say they all no good, right? And I don't want you
And
to
there's
go.
so many people out there giving advice like that
Mhm.
based on their own experience that all of them are no good. Leave
Right,
them all alone. All men are dogs.
right,
All women are these or this, and you can't trust them.
right.
And
And that's just where I was. And he understood it. I said, so you don't want to talk, you want to talk to somebody else that's in a better place. We can talk about something else now. Who won the game last night? Because I'm cool over there, but right now I'm not the guy. So he did take somebody else's. He appreciated it because I could have said some things, but he might have been in divorce court.
you could have said some. You're right. You could have said some things that would have swayed him, like you said, and wound up in divorce
Yeah,
court when that wasn't the best
that's
advice
right.
for him.
Mhm.
And so that really was being a friend to sway him the right way. You're listening, he said, she said on IntellectualRadio.com. And we are talking about dating and dating after breakups, dating after divorce. Is it harder? Have you noticed it being harder? What have you found? Have the rules changed from when you were dating at one time and now you're back on the dating scene? We love to hear it. If you're on Facebook, you can chime in on my Facebook page, Wanda B, or you can also call in 708-223-8953. Or if you're on YouTube, you can comment there on YouTube, however you like to do it. And please, like I said, check out intellectualradio.com. You don't have to watch. If you're watching on Facebook, continue to watch it on Facebook, but go check out the website. I'd like to hear your feedback. Let us know what you think. This is brought to you by Wonderful Bling. Hi. WandaFuel Bling.com. I have some on. I wear Wonderful Bling. I only have one earring. Why didn't y'all tell me? All y'all watching and nobody said, girl, you only got on one earring. I only have one Wonderful Bling earring on because the other one is somewhere. I'm going to go find it. I won't cry till after the show. And then I have some beautiful, it's all lead and nickel free, beautiful pieces. They come with matching earrings. Only $5, you guys. $5. Go to the website. Always check out the new releases. I love the new releases because it's just fun to see what is new and out there. So check out my website, wonderfulbling.com, you guys. So, like I said, we've been talking about tips for getting back into the dating scene after breakups, after divorce, and sharing 9 helpful tips. And the first one was to be positive, to go into it being positive. And I know that may be hard, but if you're still working on your working on being positive, maybe just even taking a step back from dating for a minute. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't always have to be dating on this quest to find someone. Find yourself. So,
Mhm.
but at the same time, number one was have a positive mindset. Number two was reflect on what you do and don't want in a partner, and becoming very clear on your wants and needs. And sometimes what you want may not be what you need.
That's true. That's true. I want that, but don't need it, right?
Exactly. I mean, I really do want some French fries. Right before I was like, man, some hot McDonald's French fries, but I know my love handles don't need them. I just know it.
Right.
But I sure want some fries. I still want some fries. I'm gonna battle that. I'm gonna battle that after the show. But knowing what you do and do not want in a relationship, and then as I think Dr. Gant and I have been talking about, is taking time to heal, which is number three, taking the time to heal and how to go about that. And I know you guys are saying, wait, tell who is that again? I have a new face with me today, Dr. Anthony Gant. He is the host of the great entrepreneurs, the great authors, and now Greater You here on IntellectualRadio.com. He's part of the family of Intellectual Radio. And so check out his shows. Now, a Greater You is right before He Said, She Said. So you can pack it all in, get a Greater You, and then talk it out with me after you've talked with he is part of the taking time to heal. I think a Greater You is
Yes.
part of this process,
Yes, it
right?
is. That's what it's about. It's about healing, being a better person.
Being a better person. So if you're looking for ways, you don't always have to go and talk to someone. You can search out
Mhm.
valuable places that fit you, because I can listen to somebody and go, "Oh my gosh, I can't listen to that person for 5 minutes." I mean, but other people love them
That's true.
as a help, and they do nothing for me. But you find the person that works for you, says the things that, now I'm not saying say everything you want to hear.
Right.
Not but say things that definitely work towards healing your spirit, and a Greater You is definitely one of those shows for that. So add that to your Sundays, as you our Sunday fun day. Add a Greater You to He Said, She Said. Just make your whole, just carve it all out, or pace it out. You can listen to it all week long. That's the
Right.
beautiful thing about intellectual radio. You can always listen at your convenience on many formats, whether you listen on Spreaker or view it on YouTube or go to intellectualradio.com. So number four was, don't compare your dates to your ex.
Mm. Good.
So don't compare your dates to your ex. Do people do that? Do you guys do that? Have you noticed people who've done that to you? That you've been on a date and you go, you eat just like him, or
Yeah.
she
I've been through that before. That someone would compare you to their yesterday, as I call it, and
compare you to their yesterday?
yeah,
Okay.
and you're sitting there wondering like, where did that come from? Because they're comparing you to yesterday, and I think because sometimes again people don't get healed, so you're just next, right? and they just kind of going by their own reference, which is yesterday or the people out here before you. Sometimes people can go so far back, and you can meet them at 45, and they're talking about 18.
I know I have definitely heard people talking uh about things that have happened to them, and they were talking high school. I'm like, how old are you? And
Yeah,
you
right.
really are discussing what this guy did to you when you were 19,
Yeah.
really?
I think it's like sometimes, when you first dating people, everything is so amicable because nobody has it. Everybody got the guard up, and you can't see none of me in my tin suit, right? So we all surface. And then when someone get upset and they say, "That's how old man act. You act just like my ex-wife." And that didn't come up the first dinner. See, that came up when I was 10 minutes late.
When you first exhibited some behavior
Yeah.
that they recognized from some
Body
older
else. And then
relationship.
they bring you up with that. Or, there you go. You wearing dresses like my ex-wife will. Like, how did she get here? Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, lumping the whole they were almost waiting for you to exhibit the behavior
Right.
of the ex. Like they're waiting for that to happen to
Yeah.
find out you just like him. You just like all men
Yeah.
who do these
These
things.
things.
So
You know that quote that Maya Angelou had, when someone show you who they are, believe them? If you notice, most people use that in the negative.
explain.
Like, you can meet good people right up front. Like the first, you know that they're good people. You're like, this is a good person. And they showed you who they were. But you don't believe that. Let them make a mistake. See, when people show you who they are,
I
and not,
never thought of that, but
yeah,
that is so, so, so true that people only kind of use that reference
when it's negative.
when it's negative.
Yeah.
You have shown me who you are when you show me your negative traits.
Right.
But when you shown them that you actually aren't like your ex, I've shown you that I do this, and they overlook that because they're waiting for
They
the
waiting on
show
it.
you to the bad stuff.
Right. You do
I've never
90,
thought of
yeah, you
that.
do 99 things right, and then the one thing, that's what they harp on.
And that's the one thing you showed me,
That's,
so I should believe
I should
that.
believe that. Now these other 90, because
Not
they,
the
yeah,
98 other things
right.
I've shown you for the
Yeah.
positive. I never thought about that. I'm still in that. You may hear that again.
Right.
Y'all can. I may repeat that on one of these shows if he said she said on intellectualradio.com. When I repeat it, I'm gonna give Dr. K credit, okay? But I may repeat that they use it in the negative.
Mhm.
So because I think that I never thought of that, but it's so true.
Yeah.
It is very, very, very true.
And it goes with the positive. When you said go into the relationship positive, right? How am I going to go in it positive when I'm waiting on you to make a mistake?
I'm waiting on you to show me
Show me this negative person.
so I can believe it.
That's right.
Because I'm not gonna believe anything else you do.
What they want from me, they've been nice for like 2 years in a row. They must want something from me.
I know that can happen so often where you're looking for someone to do anything exhibited from some past thing, or they only see I think there's a lot of people that only see a lot of the bad
Oh yeah,
things.
yeah. I believe that. I believe because they're negative. See that, but that goes with healing yourself. You can't heal you and stay negative.
You won't even be able to
You
stay
won't-
negative if you've healed
if you
you.
heal you. So when people are saying I'm over that, but they're so negative. How are you healed and negative? That's almost like being in the hospital and you get healthy, but then you still unhealthy. How does that happen?
And if you're really taking your medicine and doing everything the doctor said to do, there's no way you wouldn't heal.
Right.
So are you really healing? Are you really taking your medicine?
Right.
Are you really doing the things you say
There you go.
you should do to heal? And that actually doesn't happen. Or they're healing the wrong thing. They're in the sinus aisle and they should be
Right.
in the cancer aisle.
They had the chemo.
They're hemorrhaging.
Right.
You are bleeding. It's coming out, oozing out of your pores. Over there blowing your nose. Stop it. So
Right.
I think that happens. Somebody said, if I see you doing some of the things he did, you about to get the side eye.
Right. Well, see, the thing is, everybody has a yesterday. Because the older you get, you're not probably meeting any virgins. Not saying you couldn't, but you're meeting somebody that had a relationship. Now, 15, we the first, right? 45, we could have 5, 10, 15, 20 people in there yesterday. Right? But
we're paying the price of 15, 20 people.
Right. So, but then that other person has 5, 10, 15, 20 people in there yesterday.
Ooh, think about the baggage coming to this.
There you go.
Y'all have a jetliner filled with bags.
Right. So it's kind of hard to look at someone with a side eye because you got 15 people too. And not saying that you slept with 15 people, but
we're talking baggage, just the energy, the things that carry the conflicts of that have carried along with you, and it's hard to totally take them away because they're your experiences. They're your memories.
That's
they're
right.
what you know.
Right.
What are you saying? Stephanie said that's hard. What's hard, Stephanie? The not looking at side eye at the things that you did, like the ex. I think, and I agree that that's hard, but I do think that if you're starting from a place of healing, you don't even meet the person who does the things like the ex.
Right. Because one thing I realized when I was going through some things, I couldn't understand, like, why am I in the same situation? The faces have changed, the names have changed, but I get the same result. And then I said, you know what? I'm the common denominator because none of those people knew each other. So obviously it's something
that was on one of your shows this week, wasn't it? I do remember.
Right. Right. And I said,
saying that.
Yes, so that's when it dawned on me, Wanda, that you know what? Maybe I need to change me so I can stop picking them.
And that, I think, is the common denominator thing is huge. That when people say I keep running into people just like my ex, or I got this, I had this on my forehead,
Right.
where they see this on me on my forehead.
Right.
A lot of that is because basically it is on your forehead.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You are
Come
carrying it
get me.
around.
Right.
You're carrying around
Right.
the baggage, and it is going to cause the exact same people who exhibit the same behaviors
Mhm.
to be drawn to you
Right.
until you heal you. And then it's becoming real of how to heal you, because that really is a process, because we sometimes don't know where to begin. And I think one way that I know I've used to heal it is when I have a feeling of someone doing something, they've done something I don't like, or and I have a reaction. I try to think back to the first time that's ever happened to me and I had that reaction.
Mhm.
Now this may not be in any relationship, romantic, or it could be a relationship with when my mother did this
Right.
the first time I felt this way before.
Mhm.
And then kind of start my healing from there, that
Right.
of so what made me feel that way? It made me feel that way because it made me feel like I couldn't do this, or I wasn't being good enough, or I wasn't. So how can I go about feeling good enough?
Right.
And so I try to work backwards, and when I then work on how to feel better in this situation, because I don't always think people can make you feel, you're allowing yourself to
Oh
feel
yeah. You open up a
certain
door. Oh
ways.
yes.
And so then how do I then work on not allowing that trigger? I don't want things to trigger certain behaviors in me. And so getting control of that. How can I feed myself love in a certain way so I don't have, when you do this, I feel hurt by it.
Right.
And so and that is going to be different for everyone on how they find, but definitely do some investigating on you and your feelings. Get to know you, why you feel the way you do, what made that behavior of that person make you feel that way. Why did it make you feel that way? How did it make you feel? I mean, you have to almost think to yourself, that made me feel like I wasn't good enough.
Right.
And then go backwards. Where do I start getting this feeling of not being good enough?
Mhm.
And then it's feeding yourself love. Sometimes it will be that some people just need to do daily affirmations to teach them to learn love themselves and
Right.
stop looking for external love
There you go.
in other people. If you every day say something till you believe it yourself, because then when you believe it, nothing anyone else says or does will make you not believe it.
Right. And I think that's powerful because a lot of times we don't believe stuff about ourselves that's good, and we hang around people that keep doing us bad. So this trigger came up, and I feel like I'm not any good. So I stay another week. Now I'm there another month. Now we just met like a month ago, so I don't really have an obligation to say, let me keep letting you abuse me, because but I'm abusing myself because I'm not honest with myself and say, wait a minute, I like me more than that. So I don't talk to me. And I remember when I had a problem early when I dated and married and all that. I was afraid to tell you how I felt because I didn't want to hurt your feelings, right? So if you kind of made me mad, I'm gonna just deal with it internally and just say, well, it's cool, it's cool, because I had this thing, nothing bothers me, but everything was bothering me, right? But I felt that's the only way I could handle it by saying it doesn't bother me, even though you've done it another 10 more times. Well, after I started healing myself, right, working on myself, I started being more honest with people early. So if they said like, "You old dirty dog," now before I'd be like, "Ah, don't bother me," but as what time went on, dirty dog started getting more adjectives. You dirty black dog. You know what I'm saying? You dirty short dog. You know what I'm saying?
Dirty short black dog.
Right. So, like, man, I used to just be dirty dog. But
Now I'm dirty black short dog. Wait a
right?
minute.
Right. What happened? Right.
That don't bother me.
Right. But then so now you start walking around like, I'm just dirty black dog.
I'm just a dirty black dog.
Right.
Yeah.
Because not because that stuff has gotten internal. So I started learning that way. It's not fair to them or me if I'm not honest and say, I know that's you like saying dirty dog and everything, but I don't talk about me like that. So I appreciate if you don't say that to me. That's that same way. And usually people, oh, right, because that's something they're used to doing.
And you never said anything.
I
I have been guilty of that too. Of telling myself to just let it go is not that serious. But if it's not that serious, I would have let it go.
Right.
But I never let
Let
it
it go.
go
Right.
because now I remember you called me dirty dog.
Right.
So I wrote that down. Then in my head, but I'm saying I'm over it and
Right.
I'm letting it go.
Mhm.
But really, I'm making a list.
That's right.
In the back of my head, I'm actually create it. I let it pile on.
That's right.
So then now you call me you dirty black dog, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna let that go. And then by the time the list is gotten, I'm up to number 10.
Right.
Now I'm snapping.
Yeah.
And they're like, I've called you this a million times and you never said anything.
That's the problem. I never said anything.
And that's
Right.
the problem,
Yeah.
though. Sometimes we're holding those things
Right.
is they get compounded. They don't even understand where you're coming from
Right.
because you thought you were helping by not saying anything. You're actually making it worse because it's harder for them to rectify. Not that they can't rectify the behavior, but it does for them seem a little confusing because I called you dirty black dog for the last year and a half.
Right.
And then I added dirty black ugly dog.
Right.
Then I added dirty black ugly dog with the black shoes.
Right.
And then you just was like, okay.
So it must be because I said something about black shoes. Because when I walk,
Oh, now you got a problem with me saying black shoes? No, dirty black.
Right.
All of that I have a
Right.
problem with.
Yeah.
And it's just, it doesn't help the relationship because
No.
now they can't, you're expecting them to go back and heal things from 3 months ago.
Yeah.
When if you just would have said something at the first black.
Yeah. Then they would have known, like, oh, okay, I won't go there. Now, if they go there afterwards, now you just kind of disrespect me because I told you that.
I told you from the get go,
Right.
I don't like when
Dirty
you
black.
call me that.
Yeah. And so I think that's what happens a lot of times. That's what helped me heal and grow because then I was able to do it on both sides. I was able to say, oh, I like when you say that, or I like when you say or don't do that, or don't like, right?
I think that is excellent to do. And you bring up a very good point is a lot of times we're so quick, like you say, to operate from a negative that we can tell someone everything bad that they do,
right.
but rarely say, you know what I actually like when you do say this
Right.
and you do say that. So they do know it helps them learn you
Yeah.
and how to better talk to you. And people would rather make you happy. They actually probably don't want to not.
No. Very few people want to just make you mad. I
And
mean,
if they do, well, just stay away from them because there's people like that for real.
Just a few of them, though.
It's just a few of them.
Right.
But stay away from them. But the other ones want to that you haven't want you to be happy. But that may be some getting used to because, like you said, we all come with some baggage, 20 relationships behind us or some relationship behind us.
Right.
And so if they used to call their last person black, whatever,
Yeah.
how do they know you don't like it?
Right.
So
That's right.
it really is something that you have to be open and positive that they only want the best. If you only see something positive, you won't take things as negative.
Negative. That's right. And you know something too, like you were just stating that if you just go to relationships and ask people how many nice things, like when someone does something nice, right? How many times do they say, and it could be little, like I like the way you cook the chicken, right? But they never say it. They may say the chicken was good, but they don't like say I like the way you see. They don't get specific enough in anything. If I can't get specific and tell you about the chicken, how am I gonna get specific and telling you about your personality? You get what I'm saying? So it's like you said, I had to learn you and then know that and be honest and not look at it as I'm a weak person by giving you a compliment.
We do see that if I fill your head up too much, it makes you vulnerable to hurt me, or it makes somehow that does too. But at the same time, I think you'll get more of that behavior.
Yeah.
When you do make a point of it, and less of the other behavior. If you commend the good things, if you say that I like when you do this, because now you're giving them. You can say, "Don't call me black," but if you tell them what you do, like now they have a way of actually fixing it for you.
Right.
Because now I'll say purple. I didn't know you like to be called purple.
Right.
Purple.
Right. So why they call you purple? Because I like being called purple, right? You know what I'm saying?
So I think when you do that, it really helps. But you bring up, I don't know where that comes from. I guess I do it for my own self. Is that I was raised in a kind of a household where you don't think too much of yourself. That you're not supposed to actually do too much, not bragging, but commending.
Because I think we're afraid, you ever heard a statement that said, well, I don't want to give you too many compliments because you might get a big head, right? And for a long time, I'm like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And then when I got older, I'm like, why wouldn't a person want to give you a compliment if you look good or do this good? Why wouldn't you say that 10 times? Like, hey, that looks good. You did that good. I'm afraid to give you a big head because I probably have a big head myself. You
Never
see,
thought of it
you see what
that
I'm
way.
saying? That's
Right,
because
right.
otherwise, I mean, when you think about it, it was like hard, and I'm still working on this to be able to receive a compliment.
I'm horrible at that still.
Right? It's like hard to like somebody say, "Well, that was good." Ah, oh, no. You know, you kind of like downplay their compliment to you because of the environments and the people that you've been around, dating or whatever. You know, you think that now you took time, look in the mirror, I look good, and then somebody said you look good. So
And I'll even point out a negative. I'll go, yeah, but I didn't do the back of my hair. I'm pointing out, and somebody said that, but and that is something I continue to work at because it is something from actually childhood. I
yep,
mean, this really runs real deep with me of not being able to accept
compliments.
compliments. So I'm still working on it, and I do think we'll always find things that we need to
To work
work
on. Oh
on.
yeah.
We are always a work in process. Krista said, "I love compliments." Oh, that's sweet. I can't wait till I get to that point where I love compliments. I don't know if I will, but I can't wait to get to that point. I think that's cool that the people who and maybe I too wasn't really raised with people who complimented me either.
Right.
I was raised kind of with people that not that you didn't feel like you were good enough, but you kind of were. If you did this, you could do better.
Right. Yeah.
If
Well,
you did this,
you
if
got an
you
A. You got
got
an A plus. We could get an A plus plus.
well, that person got a certificate and an A plus. You got all A's and one B. Well, you work on that B. I mean, they work on forget the
Right.
other A's. That B really needs to come up. You really need
Right.
to.
Yeah.
So I think I know I was kind of raised in that kind of environment that not, and I know it wasn't malicious. I'm not trying to say it was bad parenting. I think people do what they know
Yeah.
how to
Yeah.
do.
I think everyone gives you what they have. Like if I squeeze the orange juice is gonna come out of it. If I hand you the same orange and you squeeze it, orange is gonna come out. It had nothing to do with you and I. What was in came out. And I think that's the same thing with people. When you squeeze them, then what's in them, what you see the juice, you say, oh, that's what they are. Now, if you don't like the juice that's coming out of you, you got to say, well, let me put something else in me. So when I get squeezed again, compliment will come out, not something negative will come out.
Yeah, if
And
you squeeze it and you're getting all this sour juice, you may want to try a way to make it sweet.
Need some sugar.
You need some sugar in it. Hey, listening to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. And I am excited and very happy to have Dr. Gant, a fellow host in the Intellectual Radio family here with me. He actually has a few shows here on Intellectual Radio.
I'm trying
He's
to
going to
live.
make you great.
Yeah,
You
trying to
can
live
have
here.
no excuse not to be great. This man builds greatness. He has written over 30 books on all different. What are kinds of some of the topics of your books?
Well, I write in the self-help and entrepreneurship space. So self-esteem, self-discipline, promoting your business.
What he say that he can't compliment himself. He can't expound. But I'll tell you, definitely the self-help realm is kind of the realm that he says she said what wanted to be. We like to be in every day. We're working on building and growing relationships and helping us heal our relationships and really trying to get the he's and the she's to communicate better. I mean, and this topic is kind of even based on the show is even based on my own divorce and the healing process and how it came of me realizing I wasn't the best at communicating with the other side. And so he said, she said was born. And so definitely Dr. Gant's books go in that realm of becoming a greater you because it really will make you a better communicator. It makes you better at most things. So we're going over the tips and we're running out of time because we said we're going to make this a shorter show. And I talk, so I could really keep talking.
Well,
But
we keep going till you get tired.
so the number 5 of these 9 tips is take things slow and be gentle on yourself. I think one thing that when I was going to helping this dear Kim Plesha, who deals with and should have her number and I don't have it, but she deals with emotional clearing, how to she really was very helpful, was helping me always be able to get quickly. It's like sometimes we go, well, how this started in a youth can probably very quickly know how to. She gave me the tools to be able to go right back to finding where this started and feeding that love, because I think that is a lot of times we beat up on ourselves for not knowing, not being, or thinking it's a bad thing because we need healing, and not and seeing it as weakness,
Right.
because that for me that was to admit not being healed was a form of not being strong. And I'm used to the strong, be the strong woman, but finding strength in healing was a part of that. So I do think taking things slow is being kinder to yourself in the process. That not seeing it as a negative. If someone says they're going through healing, stop looking at men who need to go through healing as being weak. If they because their healing process is so different, that we take away those judgments, take things slow, and feed ourselves love, because we do have a tendency to hop from one relationship to the next without taking things slow and allowing ourselves to heal. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, like you said, that because so many people look at healing and getting better as negative, like you saying something wrong with me. And the truth of the matter is, something is wrong, not with you. It's wrong with some, maybe the way you're thinking, the way you're feeling. So we got to address those so you won't keep carrying that wrong around. Because it took me a while to realize this in my own life. I was good at ignoring a problem. I figured if I turned my back, I didn't see it and it wasn't there. Not realizing it was a fire, right? And then I'm looking behind me, not a whole kitchen on fire. I could have stopped that thing with a glass of water if I would have went on and addressed it
And
earlier.
now you need the fire
Now the
department.
fire department. Now I'm out of a place, right? Now I got to
I
live.
don't have no place to live and I'm homeless.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
And the fire department said it's a total loss.
So that's right.
You've
Now,
lost
and all
everything.
I could have did was just put a cup of water on that thing.
And so many people do that because it's easy.
Yeah.
I think, and this is more than just relationship. This is so many different topics that is so easy. It's so much easier to ignore
Mhm.
a problem than to deal with it, because a lot of times we don't know how. And that's why I think your self-help books and finding tools to have a tool case with you, so when these things come up, you have your glass of water sitting right next to you. You
Right.
have your fire
That's
extinguisher,
right.
and the fire is when you push, knock it out, and keep moving.
That's right.
And so I do think we got to build our tool chest for ourselves, the tools for our own bodies, how to make our lives go smoother. And because negative things, negative thoughts, they'll always creep back. I don't
Yeah.
care how
Yes.
healthy you get. I know earlier today I went for a walk and then started thinking negative thoughts, and I go, whoa, 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 whoa. I mean, a lot of times you think you just totally, but bad habits, because I've spent a lot of time practicing my bad habits, all 32 years of
I thought it was
practicing.
29.
Be quiet. Oh, 29. No, I can't go 29 because I have a 20-some-year-old
Okay.
son. So I
32.
had to go up to 39. So I've had a lot of practice
Right.
in this mental behavior. And so it's going to take time. So feed myself love and self-correcting. If I start going down the path and I start veering, going left, and no, oh, I need to do this to go back right, and having those tools. And so Dr. Gant definitely has the books, and he also brings you other authors. So like I said, check out the great authors Thursday at 7 o'clock, 8 p.m., because he'll also bring you other authors who are in the same realm. At the last week, you had someone who was handling decluttering.
Right.
And I think a lot of times you don't have to think of just cluttering as cluttering, physically being a hoarder and putting things and cluttering things, that sometimes emotions can be
Yeah. Oh
cluttered.
yeah.
And then she was also tying in how that's all tied. So if that is something, Rita, what was her last name? Rita.
Emmett. Rita Emmett.
Rita Emmett, check out that show last Thursday, The Great Author. So he does bring you a lot of people who help with what we're talking about, building tools, building those tools that you, once you read things like that, I know exactly where to go, and I'm always looking for those tools. So as I listened to that show, she said something that I thought, oh, that's a good analogy of how to handle this. She gave a tool and I put that in my toolbox. I may not need it today,
Right.
but
I need it in a year or two.
I may need it in a year or two, and I want to know how. So I think for ourselves, when we're dealing with healing, start looking for those tools that work on your healing. And if you ever have a reaction to something someone has said, did to you, then that's one step to healing right there. Right there. If you don't want to have that reaction, that feeling, that negative feeling from something someone has done, right there, fix that then. Don't wait to fix it with the next person.
Mm-hmm.
I can have something happen to go, they made me feel, that made me feel this way. And I was like, that made me feel. Well, I don't want this to make me feel this way.
Right. I like that. Mm-hmm.
And so I don't want that with anyone else. And so there are times I'm constantly healing. If I have a reaction to someone who does this, I'm going to work on that right then so I can get in the habit of healing myself. And I think we all should work there. But one thing it's saying is take that slow. Number 5 is focus on things besides dating too. And that's important too. Like we said, people jump from one person to another lots of times. Get a hobby. Sometimes not even putting any thought into the dating process. Right. As you're healing, go have fun. Yeah. Learn you. Date yourself.
Yeah. Take yourself out for a date every now and then. Go to a restaurant or a movie. But that's hard because I only see movies with somebody else, right? So if I go by myself, somebody gonna say something's wrong with me. And that's what I think the problem is a lot of times. We think everything to do to help us is wrong with us. And that's not necessarily the case. I'm just trying to learn me, and I'm taking me out to a movie. And I think it frees some people up sometimes when they learn how to do things like that for themselves. Get your hair done for yourself. I mean,
not for an occasion or for just to feel good and go out and do nothing. Just to be you.
Get some wonderful bling just because you
get your wonderful bling. Right. Go to wonderfulbling.com. Hook yourself up with some new jewelry, new earrings, bracelets. They got rings. We have everything for every kind of taste. So you're right.
Yeah. See, and what that does is it turns into an association, right? Like, okay, I'm feeling bad that he left me, right? So I buy a wonderful bling, and every time I put it on, I feel like I'm still pretty. Right, or I'm still
fake it till you make it. Right. I'm a pure believer in faking it till I make it. If I don't feel good that day, that's why I'm gonna put on a full outfit, full makeup, do my hair, some wonderful bling, go buy me $1 lipstick or $18 one. When I buy them $18 ones, I lose them.
So you get the dollar.
So I hit the dollar store and get a new look. Right. And go out and fake happiness, and I swear, eventually, I just feel happy.
You can catch up, and then you associate that every time they see the necklace, even if they don't put it on, it'll be empowering. That's
my happy necklace.
That's my happy necklace. Right? That's what they put up. And they don't realize, like you said earlier, like you might have to use affirmations. I remember when I was going through my divorce, right before I went through a separation and everything, and I had asked myself a question: do I love me? And I had to pause, and that's what frightened me so. I couldn't just say yes. And I paused, and I said, oh, that's a problem, because I had to let me think about that. And it's from that point on, I started telling myself every day when I wake up, I love me. I've been doing that for 20-something years.
Oh, please add that. No one can go wrong without male, female, child. No one can go wrong by telling themselves they love themselves every day.
Every day.
For me, one way I did that, because I'm horrible with saying nice things to myself, is I make those my passwords. So one way to ensure that I'm saying something nice to myself is I will have "you are this" is my password, or something. I make my passwords affirmations, because then I'm typing it at least once, twice a day, or that number means that or something. And so if you have to find ways to trick yourself into
to encourage you, because you think about it, what hit me was that I wasn't hearing. I know some people had loved me, but I wasn't hearing it every day, because we're going through our lives, right? My mom not calling me every day at the time, say, "Hey, I love you," right? She's living her life, and everybody else. So I said, wait a minute, if I tell myself every day I love me, I heard it at least once, right? I mean, I heard it after that, but I heard it one time. And so I do something like and maybe some people that notice on my shows, like at 8:12, my evening shows, one of my alarms go off on my phone.
That's your "I love me" alarm. It really does too.
It's called 8:12, right? But 8:12 is my birthday, and every time at 8:12, it reminds me of how great I am. I tell myself how great I am. Now, I don't do it during the show like I'm great, I'm listening to whatever, but it reminds me like you only heard it once today at 8:12 this morning.
And you will say, like, during your show, "Oh, don't mind, that's just my alarm."
Because I got to remind myself, I am great, right? So
I'm gonna do that. 2:14 is going, which I do love when things pop up when it's 2:14.
Right.
So I'm going to do that. My show is purposely at 2:00 because that's my happy hour, y'all. If you ever wonder why my show is at 2, because it's in happy hour. And so, yes, you have to create the things that just remind you to stay in your greatness, your happiness. Remind yourself to love yourself. Say that every day. And if you have to fake it till you make it your password, make it an alarm.
Yeah.
Don't forget, because we will forget to love ourselves. We put ourselves last, especially when you have children, things to do. Taking care of them and making sure they're loved becomes more priority than taking care of yourself.
That's right.
And so taking care of yourself is so important. Roger Strong said, I would say it's harder to let yourself trust or open yourself to another relationship as opposed to actually dating. To get over that hurdle, I think it shouldn't be that hard. Great point, Roderick. It's not so much the act of dating, it's how we handle ourselves as we're dating, what's happening on those dates. Yeah, the act of dating is not as important, or not as important, but what you get from that date, being able to is what did you say? I say it's harder to let yourself trust and open yourself to another relationship. And then sometimes I think you just have to do it.
Yeah.
Don't put any thought behind it. Just do it.
And let the chips fall where they may, because sometimes, a lot of us get hurt because we trusted somebody. So see, that's what we're bringing in, right? I trusted this person, and look what they did. So now here come another person, and I'm afraid to trust them because of the 5 other people. But if I don't trust them, what I may miss out on something, right? I mean, now the possibility is they could be like the last 5, right? But how about if they're not? But I don't trust them, so I miss out on that because I don't open myself up and say I'm gonna trust this person and see what happens.
I will say that the one thing that I've always tried to tell myself when I'm working on being open is I lived. All the people who have ever hurt me before, I'm still here. I'm fine.
Right.
I'm like, did it kill me?
Right.
I mean, why can't I just open up and let it be? I'll be okay.
Right.
I didn't die because you hurt my feelings or I was hurt. Yes, it hurt really badly. But then I thought about it. It really hurt the worst the first time it happened.
Right.
And I lived in and I met somebody else.
Yes.
I mean, haven't you always gone on?
Yes, that's true. I like the way you put that. Right. That's true.
So I think, well, really, did it kill you? So I'm not as afraid to be hurt because I lived.
Right.
I mean,
that's right. And so much other, because people have so much in them, right, when we meet them. And I think every person is waiting on you to trust them. Now, some people are raggedy. We just
yes, there are those people.
Right.
Yes,
but most people that's trying to do what we call decent or be good people, they want to be trusted by somebody, right? Even if they made mistakes and sabotage the last relationship, they still want someone to trust me. Like, okay, I messed up then, but that's really not me, and I learned from that. But I don't do that as a practice. I just need somebody to trust me, so I can even show them and myself that I'm not that person. I'm an X that.
And I think you can, but the only way you can sometimes see that in someone is to really allow them to show you the behavior that they're like the last one. If they haven't shown you the behavior, don't expect it until they've given you that. But I guess that goes into the when they show you, believe them.
Right.
But I do believe don't go in there looking for that to happen.
Right.
Expect goodness until expect all things good.
Because you want someone to expect all things good from you, right? You don't want anyone to think, like I said, I've been there being investigated, not knowing that I was being investigated, so to speak, like sizing me up to your last. Because I'm just kind of like this carefree guy. And, I know you had somebody yesterday. I had somebody in my yesterday. We knew. But then I realized, like, okay, do you always do this? When, like, how come you ask me 25 questions? Like, so what did you do between 4:05 and 4:06? Like, what?
What? I took one breath and then I walked.
And I'm wondering, like, where did that come from? But then I had to start realizing people have issues, right? We all do.
I'm not going to allow that to happen to me again. So this time I'm going to ask if you, I'm going to make sure you're not doing this to me.
Right. Because and obviously trust what that guy said, that trust a lot of times is put on fidelity or not, right? If I was faithful to somebody or they faithful to me. And I look at trust as US in the center of that word, and it takes both of us to play with trust. It's an us thing. It's not a thing or you thing, it's us. And I think that you can only trust the truth that people give you. If they say that their name is Joe, I can't say, yo, you're not Joe, you Bob. I mean, I can only trust that truth. Now some people lie, right? And a lot of times people lie because they insecurities. They're afraid to be vulnerable. So I think that the more you are willing to be vulnerable, the more truthful you are. Because you think of anybody that's vulnerable, they're very truthful and they're very trusting. Think about it. Anybody you know in your life, you or anybody else. Like, yeah, they're pretty vulnerable. Kind of like,
Just
but they truthful and they trust everybody, right?
right.
Because it goes together. And you show somebody that's not vulnerable, they don't trust anybody, and they very seldom tell you the truth.
Really? I
Think
never thought of that.
think about it.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah. They don't tell you the truth a lot because they don't trust. They think everybody is like them,
Right.
and we all do that. We all have this
We do.
projection that if I think everybody's steal and I'm a thief,
I'm holding on
I'm
to
holding
my
on to everything,
stuff.
right?
Right. I got my purse
Yeah,
tight.
watch everybody, man. They stealing it. Well, if you don't think nobody steal, you sit
Still.
stuff down and kind of walk off. You know, you ever see somebody in a restaurant like a Starbucks or something, and they just walk off and go to the bathroom and everything, and nobody touch their stuff because they're used to just being around. Some people like, man, I'm taking everything, right? Because of the fact that they think that people do that because of the environments and the people they're around.
That's interesting. So true. You're listening. He said, she said on intellectualradio.com, and we've been talking about dating and getting back into the dating scene after breakups and after divorce, and giving steps, giving some tips to do that. And this is brought to you by Allstate. So whether you need auto, home, or life insurance, give Sal a call. Tell Sal I sent you. Tell him why to be sent you. He'll give you some quotes and rates. And that number is 708-599-5100, 708-599-5100. Tip 7, set realistic expectations.
I like that.
So, while it's good to have a positive outlook when dating after a breakup, it's not good to have an unrealistic expectation. Expecting to find the love of your life right away can prevent you from living in the moment and enjoying being single. So that's tip number 7. 8 is don't talk about your ex, the breakup on a date. I Yes, I do know someone said, well, what else do you talk? But I do think finding out about that person is important.
Yeah,
Finding out
yeah,
about them and
yeah,
not
yeah.
necessarily that stuff comes up is kind of who you are, but make a mindset to be in the moment, and that moment isn't about your ex.
Yeah, right. It shouldn't be because
It shouldn't be
yeah,
about your
yeah,
ex. I
right.
mean, it shouldn't be that we really need to staying in that moment with that person. I know once someone said to me, or I read, Yana Van Zant said it. Sometimes the things you talk about the first kind of define you, and those are the main things that need to be healed, especially when it's negative. And I realized that I used to tell everyone kind of right in front about my parents' divorce, and I used it to almost define me, or that I'm divorced.
Mm.
And that used to be what I talk about initially, that I'm divorced, and that I wanted to change those labels, because sometimes when you bring up those things, the pain comes with talking about it.
Yeah. But like you said, it's something to be healed. I think that every person we meet are either medicine men or medicine women, or they're poisonous men or women. And if we meet medicine people that work on themselves, they got some medicine in them, right? They're medicine people, right? So that's why I think people get healed.
Walking penicillin.
Right, right. That's what they are. Right. And I think they come in our lives and they help heal us from things because I really believe that people have to talk out hurt. I really believe that. But we just meet very few people that's willing to listen to us talk out hurt. Right? Right. So, oh man, we've been talking about this hurt for but people have to talk it out. And sometimes, since a lot of us don't go see counselors or therapists or things like that, we don't ever get a chance to talk out the hurt. We never say how I cried all day. We don't say that part. We just say, well, I cried before. No, you cried all day. You like in bed like for weeks.
You cried for weeks. You was to the covers. You wouldn't even come out. You didn't even eat.
Right. See, we don't say that part. We just say, well, I was a little depressed. No, you were a lot depressed. But since we don't talk about it, because see, if I say something, I get vulnerable, you're going to think something's wrong with me. I don't look at it as it's part of the healing process. Because people that's healed know that you got to talk it out. That's why therapists and counselors are so valuable because they're so unbiased and they'll just let you talk. And you can just say, well, then my mama did this when I was 5 years old. And they say, okay. And then what? They'll let you talk it out. And that's really where the healing comes from. It's not really like,
Right, because sometimes they don't really ever give you advice.
no,
They just you walk away and realize you just talked the whole time.
right.
You never ask. They never even really. Sometimes they really don't. Now that you said it, wait a minute.
Yeah.
They
Right.
really don't like walk away saying, "Do this, take 2 pills,
Right.
cry all night, and then you'll be better." They actually are only sometimes just listening.
And see you next Thursday. Same time, right? You still got that insurance, right?
I never even thought about that. You do have Blue Cross Blue Shield, right?
Because we need someone to listen to us.
An unbiased listening. And I do think though, when you're in that place, and you kind of mentioned it too, when you're in that place of healing, you do tend to meet people who are more like-minded, and because I do tend to meet people who wind up just telling me everything about their lives.
Right.
And people go, I used to work at the Sun Times for a few years, and I was a outside salesperson, and I come back and say, and then he left his wife, and after his wife left him, then they go, how do you know all this about your, how do you know this? I was like, people just talk to me. Usually I love to hear it. It doesn't bother me. I like to hear it. I like the stories, and at the same time, usually within those stories, there's some message for you.
Yeah, that's right. Because you're thinking, because sometimes you hear their story, you wondering like, man, if that happened to me, I don't know if I would have been to make it like you, right? Like I might have went and slapped them. They said they didn't slap them. They just wonder like, man, how? How do you get through that? So I think a lot of us have to get good at listening when we're in relationships, right? And being willing to hear the pain if we want to kind of build on something. If we're not really
without judgment.
Because all of us got some time in our yesterday that we were just straight up stupid for like years in a row, right? You know what I'm saying?
I'm not stuck on stupid. Sorry, Dr. Ken.
Right.
Only got like 3 years of that. All right.
Right. And we all have that though. I mean,
we do.
Some stuff you probably think about and say, I don't know what.
And it's not going to be someone else's, because I'll hear people say, I would never go through that, or I'd never let that happen to me. But I bet you got something else that I'd never allowed to happen to me.
That's right.
I mean, so to judge someone else's, I would never do that, but you doing that, and I never do that.
That's right.
So,
that's right. And I think the healthiest people that you meet are non-judgmental people, because non-judgmental people know they got something they did. Like, well, I didn't do what you did. I did something else, and it was raggedy too, right? But
right.
It wasn't that.
And I know I'm not a bad person because of that.
That's
so
right.
if I don't feel from the things that I've had to heal from, if I know I'm a good person, then there can be good in you when you do things as well.
That's right. Because that's good. I like that.
I think that's too, is that you can't be the only good person on this earth who does bad things.
Right. It got to be somebody else, right?
It got to be one other person.
Right.
I just think there could be one other one who has done something bad but still be a good person at the core.
Yeah.
And so I think if we believe that in ourselves, it makes it easier to believe it in others. And number 9 was be your authentic self.
I like that.
Be authentic. And to be authentic, you got to be real with yourself. You can't lie to yourself.
No, not to yourself.
You can keep trying though, but I know a lot of people that's lying to themselves.
Yeah, a lot of people lie to themselves.
But the truth comes out in things and people around you though.
Well, it's never me though. It's always them. That's what I think when I lie to myself. See, it's all of y'all. All y'all wrong. I'm right.
Right.
So unfortunately, people lie to themselves because the truth. I'm no theologian, nothing like that, but scripture said the truth will make you free, right? And sometimes people say the truth will set you free. And I said, well, see, you set an oven, but you make a cake, right? Anything that's been set can be unset, right?
Right.
But see, if you get the truth, it can make you free. It can free you up. You can be authentic. Yeah, I did that 5 years ago. Man, I was like tore up. I mean, it was just really bad. But that's what I used to do.
Forgiving yourself is huge.
Yeah.
If you start off with, I did this and I forgive me, not forgiving them, but forgiving you for what you did, what you brought to the table, what you did actually makes it easier. And that was one key thing I know for me, dealing with my divorce and healing, was for me to forgive myself, because I beat myself up. I was mad at myself for the things I didn't do, what I couldn't do, then mad at him. But once I forgave myself, then I also forgave him.
There you go.
Because then I saw, well, if I messed up and I can forgive me, I can forgive you. And I was no longer mad or angry about the things that went wrong because I was at peace. I was at peace with it, and it was what it was. And now I don't look at it. You did this, and you did this. We both did, and we both
Yeah.
and there it is, and let's heal. So the number one rule for dating after a breakup is be unabashedly yourself on dates, because you're never going to find true match if you're not being authentic. A lot of times we meet people where we are in life, and like we talked about earlier, if you got that thing on your head, yeah, they do, yeah, you got it on your head. I mean, because people are drawn to that. And so when you are authentic, you will find yourself being around people who are authentic. It will happen naturally when you get very clear with yourself. Forgive yourself. When you forgive yourself, then you can be more forgiving to others who do things. When you meet them and they tell you they did this or they passed, instead of saying, "Oh, I did it," because you're forgiving, you don't see that as being as negative anymore.
Right. Because especially because we only get what we have, right? So especially when someone tell you I did this 5, 10 years ago, I was this bad or I did this wrong. It was 10 years ago, right? Like how? Why should I judge it today when you did it 10 years ago? Now, if you still slapping people now, then I got to watch out and make sure you don't slap me. But I think for a lot of, I'm gonna just speak on the man side that a lot of men have problems forgiving themselves. And since they have problems forgiving themselves, it's hard for them to forgive women, right? Because they don't forgive themselves. So they judging women. This woman did this to me. So all y'all see, instead of saying, okay, she had a bad 3 years. I mean, she was just and like you had a bad three. And I think that's what helps people, kind of go forward. Because you show me a person that don't forgive people or themselves, I'll show you a judgmental person. They're the same person.
Wow.
That
And start look, I mean, you'll notice that in people,
Yeah.
and you really will see that. I never thought of it that way, that well, I think of it when it's myself, when I notice or I'm criticizing something in someone else, that honestly I would criticize it in
Yeah,
me.
right.
I see it as a critical thing
Yeah.
within myself.
Mhm.
And so I definitely agree with that. So I think everything falls back on you.
Yeah.
Not in a neck like, oh, see, I'm not at fault. He did this. Like I said, but truly, I think I heard you say on a greater you 1 o'clock on
Mhm.
Sundays. I heard you mention, oh, did I just lose my train of thought? It was
It's all
something you
about
said in
you.
your show that it comes back to you. I mean, you walking around with yourself all day.
Uh,
You're the person you have to be with.
every day, all day. Can't leave you at home and take you to work.
That's right. I heard you say
Right.
that on the greater you. So why not try everything to be the best you, to be as authentic as you can be? Because I swear it will bring that goodness to you. And like you say, yeah, I that's the one person I can't escape. So if
Right.
I'm walking away with negative thoughts, and I'm negative nanny, and I'm this,
Right.
ugh.
Right. And I got to wake up with that person, go to bed with that person.
I mean,
Yeah.
go everywhere
Everywhere.
with her.
All the time. I mean,
She always want to go everywhere
every
I
time I look up, there you are.
go. Make her the best you. So you've been listening to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. Dr. Gann, tell them how they, even though I think I've mentioned it a few times, we're going to keep mentioning it. How can they reach you? How can they get one of those 30 books you've written? How can they watch your shows?
Well, the
Tell
show's
us.
on Monday here on Intellectual Radio. Monday at 6 p.m. to 7. And Thursday, well, that's Monday, Great Entrepreneurs. Thursday, the Great Authors from 8 to 9. And then Sunday, A Greater You from 1 to 2.
All right.
I
All
get kind of
right.
mixed up all those greats
Oh,
sometimes.
I got them.
I'll be
I'm
like, what
telling
show is
you,
this again? Wait.
you will be a greater you for sure if you make your week. And I will say, it's not just my show, and it's not even all of Dr. All the programming here at intellectualradio.com does exactly what our tagline is. It feeds your brain. So we really do have something for everyone. But what I enjoy are all the ones that feed into the self-help realm, because that's where lovely he said, she said, but wanted to be likes to be. I love that, constantly working on myself, because I got to hang with me all day. Goodness gracious. I'm about to go somewhere with myself when I leave here. So, to be the best you is just so important. So again, how can they reach you besides listen to your
Okay,
show?
yeah, the book's on unknowngreatness.com, and they can reach me at either Dr. Tony Gant, that's Gantt at Gmail, or they can call me at 773-984-9848.
Okay, and then your collaborative book, you have something coming
Oh
up.
yeah, the collaborative book we have that comes out. Well, we're taking submissions. That's you write a 2,000 word chapter, and you're in there with 11 other people, and from different states, so that we can help you become a published author.
Oh, that one sounds so intriguing to me. I'm so interested in doing that. So maybe that's something to become a greater me. So guys, I want you to get blinged, make yourself happy, be authentically you. Go find you a piece of jewelry that expresses yourself on wonderfulbling.com, and just tons, lots and lots of earrings. The necklaces come with earrings. It's lead and nickel free. So go check, and it's only $5. What I love about this is that I can pull my purse, shake my purse upside down, and pull all the change and get me a necklace. That's what I love about this jewelry. Is this for the girl like me who keeps a lot of change at the bottom of her purse, and I can walk out with some bling. Go to wonderfulbling.com and then contact me if you see something you like, or you can order it right there and have it sent to your home. It can be shipped directly to you. So wonderfulbling.com. If you need health insurance, not health, auto, life insurance, or home, or life insurance, call Sal 708-599-5100 and tell Sal I sent you. And then I'd love for you to go out and vote. The mayoral race in Park Forest. There's tons of races going on. Rock your vote on Tuesday, you guys. Vote for who represents what you need in your life, what affects your family, and don't let this be a part. Don't so you don't have to sit back and say, well, why did they choose? At least know you did your part. Do your part and go out and vote. And then I'd love for you to come back next Sunday and listen to my show, He Said, She Said, at 2 p.m., the same place and the same time on IntellectualRadio.com next week at 2 p.m. Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Gantz.
you, Wanda.
Thank you. Thank
It was
you.
a pleasure.
So next week, 2 p.m., He Said, She Said with Wanda B on IntellectualRadio.com.
Oh, she's the real deal, keeping it real for real. Keeping it real with Wanda B. Oh, all inclusion, no confusion. He said, she said, clearing up the drama.